Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you were joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Shout out to my day ones on Twitter, holding me down. I always really appreciate it. Always appreciate people when they come and tune in. Obviously, it's a podcast as well, so make sure that you go and check that out on Spotify. Follow the podcast so that you never miss anything that I do here. Another football season is over halfway through. It's amazing. Like, I feel like we just said, hey, football season is here. And now it's halfway over as far as the NFL. It's more than halfway over as far as college. And if you're a high school football player or a coach, it might be over. Our season ended. It was a rebuilding year for us. It was a difficult year. I thought we had some opportunities to do some things that would have been surprising given our youth and our inexperience, but I thought we had the ability to do, and we just didn't do it. I have to take that on me, and not being able to best communicate and get the buy-in, get the I guess buy-in is the wrong word, get the understanding, because I'm not selling anything, right? Get the understanding of what needs to be done in order to win games that people don't think you can win. And unfortunately, you know, it was a rough season, but that happens in football, right? Like, sometimes you just have seasons that don't go anywhere near the way you want them to go. Did I think this year was a year we could compete for a region title? Absolutely not. Did I think this was a year that we could find our way into the back end of the playoffs? Absolutely. And we didn't do that. And now it is incumbent upon me and everybody else associated with the program to do what's necessary to get better. But shout out to all of the teams that made the playoffs, especially all of the teams in the Savannah area that made the playoffs. I need all of you boys to go out there and shake something. I'm really excited to see what New Hampstead does in the playoffs. I think they are hitting their stride. They've been competitive versus some of the best teams in the state. And now in the state playoffs, all you got to do is, you know, get it done once. That's it. Every time, just get it done once. Survive in advance. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I'm looking forward to seeing what Calvary Day does with their squad. They have all the talent in the world, all of the pieces to be a state championship team. And so it's going to come down to, will they be able to put it together and become a state championship team? I think that's going to be important to see. I would be surprised, maybe even disappointed if they don't win. I know that's high, that's lofty expectations, but they have that level of talent. They've got Division I receivers all over the place. They've got a quarterback who by the end of the new year will probably be in Tennessee. They have a tight end that by the end of the new year will probably be, by the beginning of the new year will probably be in South Carolina. They've got wide receivers who will all have major Division I offers. They've got young talent, old talent, everywhere on the field. So what's to stop them, right? And I'm rooting for them, because you have to root for the people in your city if you ever want them to root for you. That's what I've taken over the years, is having hate for people or for entities because they're doing something that you're not doing doesn't help anything, because you want to be where they are at some point. And when you are, you don't want to worry about haters. You want people to congratulate, to boost, to have expectations, to push you forward, That's what's so great about sports, right? Once we're no longer playing, I don't have to have any reason for you to not succeed. When we're playing, hey, I want you to lose. When we're not playing, I want you to win everything. And that's awesome. But we can't be in this society where we hate and or try to make excuses why people do what they do. That brings me to this discussion about quarterbacks and something that I've seen happening. The New York Giants lost last Sunday or this past Sunday, excuse me, and Daniel Jones was hurt. He hurt his knee and it was unfortunate. He just came back from injury. He just gets injured again. It's an ACL injury. He's out for the season. And a lot of people are saying that, oh, well, this is his last time playing for the Giants. I don't personally believe that, but that's what a lot of people are saying, right? And so it got people to start talking, and their thoughts about it is, oh, well, the Giants front office ruined Daniel Jones. And we just got to stop these narratives. We've got to stop these narratives. We've got to stop all of the excuses that we put in place when guys that we like fail. There's a difference, and I'm gonna talk about a difference, right? When guys that we don't like fail, or the guys that we like fail, we make excuses for them, right? We make excuses for them. Not when they don't get a chance, when they don't get an opportunity, but when they fail, we make excuses for them. Why? Because we don't want to be wrong. But Giants fans, let me tell you something. You were just wrong about him. And it's sad that it takes a poor performance and an injury to bring you to the point where you realize that you need another quarterback. But welcome. Let's rewind. Let's review. Daniel Jones came from Duke. With all of this immense talent that Daniel Jones supposedly had, he never could elevate Duke past just being right? Go look at his stats at Duke. It's not like the ACC is some phenomenal league where it's not the SEC. It's not the SEC West. You're not facing a bunch of killers. In fact, in Daniel Jones' time in college, FSU was down. North Carolina was down. Right? It's not as if the only team you really had to deal with that was head and shoulders better than everybody else was Clemson. And yet, people will lead you to believe that Daniel Jones did work at Duke. He did not. He was average. He had a spark of some games, usually against teams that were not good. So now he comes into the league with all the turnovers in the world, and people go, oh, well, he'll just grow out of that. And then year 2 came and he didn't grow out of that. And then year 3 came and he didn't grow out of it. And the excuse was, oh, well, you know, he doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. You know what he's had? He's had a chance. When last year, when his 4th year in the league, a year where they came out the gate hot, and then once Saquon Barkley got hurt, started to fizzle down the stretch, got Saquon Barkley back for the playoffs, and was able to beat the worst defense in the NFL in the playoffs, all of a sudden he had arrived. Yet if you were watching the games, because that's what people always accuse me of when I criticize Oh, well, do you watch these games? Well, yes, I do, actually. And if you're watching these games, you would see that Daniel Jones, does not push the ball down the field with the level of accuracy that elite level quarterbacks do. He doesn't pull the trigger on a deep ball when he's supposed to. I wrote an article about it. People were judging it before they even read the article. He does not pull the trigger the way that the elites pull the trigger. And yet they kept, he doesn't have an offensive line. He doesn't have wide receivers. The coach is this, and they're calling this, and they're calling that. Yet when I saw Tyrod Taylor come into the game, that offense looked significantly different. How is that? Because all of you told me Tyrod Taylor was bad. So if Tyrod Taylor is bad, what does that make Daniel Jones? Yet we continue to try to make him some type of martyr. Oh, the Giants ruined him. Oh, he's going to have to go somewhere else to have success. No, he's not going to have success anywhere. He's a backup quarterback in the NFL. That's what he should have always been. A plus level backup quarterback, because you're not winning a championship with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. We can continue to make all the excuses we want to make for him, but this is just what it is. Hey, let me let you in on a little secret. I write for the Giants, right? One of my good friends, actually several of my good friends, we have a group chat, and I won't share with you all of the details of the group chat because it should be a podcast, and we should probably do that one day, or a show of some type. But I'll share this with you. We were talking, and we spoke about who we really thought the Giants were, that nobody wanted to listen to at the time because the hype on the Giants was so big. We said they could legitimately roll out 0-7. Legitimately roll out 0-7. So when they came out and they are what they are, I am not surprised. Even with, and listen, all of the bad things that could have happened to the Giants have happened to the Giants this year. But they were going to happen because that guy is not the guy. And the reason he's not the guy, honestly, is because you keep making all the excuses in the world for him. How can we get better as people if we are constantly cocooned, if we are constantly shielded from criticism? If we don't look at it and accept the criticism, and say, hey, these people are telling me something not because they want me to fail, but because they know I need to be better. If we don't get that because we're cocooned by it's their fault, it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault, it's her fault, it's their fault, and never on the person, then how does that person get better? In Miami, when everything is right, when everything is on rhythm, Tua Tagovailoa is one of the best quarterbacks in the game. But it's only when everything is right, when everything is on rhythm. Guess what? He's been this way since college. My knock on Tua coming out of college was that he can't get beyond a pre-snap read. It has to be perfect for him. When you switch something up post-snap, he confuses. He short circuits. He doesn't make things happen. He just operates, right? I don't even want to call it a manager. He's an operator. He operates the offense. And when the offense is at high intensity, when things are going the way it's supposed to go, He's great. But the moment things don't go the way they're supposed to go, the moment something breaks down, the moment something's not right, he is not good. And we cannot continue to make excuses for Tua Tagovailoa. We can't be sitting here going, hey, why are they calling this? I've even done it. Hey, man, y'all can run the ball. Why aren't y'all running the ball anymore? You know what? Because we don't want to run the ball anymore. We invested all this money in these wide receivers. We invested all of this capital in these people who can catch passes, this track team, this 4x100 team. We got a quarterback that we said could get it done. Guess what? Get it done. And you know what? I got to shut up because they're right. This team has been built to throw the ball. It has been built to throw the ball. The offensive line is not a dominating maul you offensive line. They're built to throw the ball, and their running backs get wide open lanes to run through because of the threat of the pass. So if there's no threat of the pass, you're not going to be able to run it well. So that means that Tua cannot afford to not be on. He can't afford to not operate the way things are supposed to operate. But it's just not good enough. It's not. And I'm tired of people saying, oh, it's this person's fault. Oh, it's this person's fault. Oh, they don't have this. Oh, they don't have that. Because that's what they continue to do. Excuses, 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 excuses. How do you get better? Tua has improved this year than over years in the past. Why? Because he started to hear the criticism. He wasn't as cocooned, put on weight. Why? Because he heard the criticism about being fragile. So criticism works. Like, we have hidden criticism behind the shield of bullying. Criticism is not bullying. And by the way, bullying is not a singular act. You do not get bullied once. That is a misuse of the term. You do not get bullied once. Bullying, ing, that is continuous. In order for that to happen, criticism is, hey, this is your game. This is what you don't do well. You probably need to get better at this. So what are we doing? If we keep making excuses, they don't get better. And you know where they're not getting better at? In fact, they're regressing in LA. In LA, they're regressing. The Chargers have Justin Herbert, and the Justin Herbert stands will tell you that he is the greatest quarterback in the NFL, that he is on par with Mahomes, that he is on par with the second-tier guys, which are Burrow and Jackson and Hurts and I guess maybe Allen. Not really this year though. Like, they'll tell you he's in that second tier, but he's not. He's not. He's third tier, maybe fourth tier. You know why? Because everybody makes excuses for him. Everybody's got a reason why he doesn't perform. Everybody's got a reason why he doesn't get it done. Everybody's got a reason why he needs more help. Oh, he needs more help. He needs another wide receiver. I can't believe they took that wide receiver instead of this wide receiver. That was what Mina Kimes said. I saw. I don't follow her, but people do, and it ends up in my feed. And it said, I'm looking. I can't believe they took Johnston instead of Zay Flowers. You still got to pass the ball to the dude. By the way, why would the Chargers even need to take a wide receiver? They have a bunch of wide receivers already, right? Mike Williams, Palmer, y'all know who I'm talking about. Their number one receiver. They've got receivers. They've got tight ends. They've got backs that they can throw to out the backfield. Why would they even need to take a wide receiver? If anything, they should have took a defensive player, right? Maybe a lineman. They don't really need a wide receiver, but the excuses. Anytime Justin Herbert doesn't play well, anytime he's not clutch, anytime he doesn't get the job done, they make an excuse for him. Well, if he had this, if he was in that offense, if he was, no, that's not how it works. No. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent used to build great monuments of nothing. Excuses satisfy only those who use them. I remember that from when I was pledging my fraternity. Shout out to Phi Beta Sigma. I was 19 years old. I am 43. And that is one of the phrases that I have always tried to remember. Excuses are the tools of incompetence to build great monuments of nothing. Translation: excuses are used to cover up. They're used to mask. What are they covering up? Us being wrong. Right? That's what they're used for. They're used to cover up us being wrong. Now, when I talk about excuses for a guy like Herbert, I go, if you put him in Kansas City, Kansas City's not Kansas City. Why? Because Justin Herbert's not Patrick Mahomes. You think that he needs wide receiver help in LA? Have you seen the wide receivers in Kansas City? Outside of a tight end who is getting up there in age, outside of a tight end, where is the elite level weapon at wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes? I'll wait. And yet, Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. And when you do give him an elite level, for sure, it's different. Right? It's a cheat code when you give him a Tyreek Hill. It's a cheat code. It's a cheat code in Miami, right? And it's not to the level that it was in Kansas City. I don't care what they try to tell you. He's just getting more targets in Miami. That's it. The production's not better. He's just getting more opportunity. And that brings me to the difference between those that fail and those who don't. Because a lot of people will say, yeah, you make excuses for a quarterback. This quarterback didn't even make it in the league. It's not the same thing. He didn't get an opportunity. Right? You know what my biggest beef with how Tyrod Taylor was handled in his career in the NFL? My biggest beef with how Tyrod Taylor his career was handled is that he never lost his job. That's my biggest beef. He never lost his job. The Buffalo Bills simply said, we want something different. We want it to look different. We want it to feel different. And he's not what we're looking for. He's not what we're looking for. That's different than he can't get the job done. Because when, need I remind you, the Buffalo Bills tried to tank. They tried to tank Tyrod Taylor's last season. They tried to tank his last season. They traded away all his assets. They traded him to different teams. They left him bare, nothing. They tried to bench him. And the person they benched him for was so bad they had no other choice but to put him back in, and he drugged that team to the playoffs. He drugged that team to the playoffs. This is before 17 games. This was before the extra team. And for that, they shipped him to Cleveland, where Cleveland had just taken a first overall draft pick at quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not excuses. I'm not making an excuse for Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor got wronged. He got wronged. The coaching staff that he had in place wanted him to play a certain type of way. So he did. The coaching staff that came in clearly wanted another type of way, but never really explored whether or not he could do that. Except if they looked, they wanted to be a more vertical passing team. Tyrod Taylor throws the deep ball better than almost anybody in the NFL. Does he have the strongest arm in the NFL? No. But he throws the prettiest, most catchable, most on-time deep ball in the NFL. He doesn't have to wait for you to get 25, 30, 40 yards down the field before he throws you open. He doesn't have to wait for you to get open like Allen. He throws you open. But we'll sit here and make all the excuses for Josh Allen and why Josh Allen isn't performing well right now. But he's had the chance. He's been given the opportunity. He's been afforded all the resources. Hey, you need an elite level receiver? Boom, we got you. Hey, you need a great tight end? Boom, let's draft Dalton Kincaid. You got running backs? We refuse to run the ball. Cool. What else? Oh, well, Lamar Jackson doesn't have the stats that some of these other quarterbacks have because he doesn't give a damn about stats. Simple and plain. He doesn't care. He only cares about the win. So if it takes him throwing for 304 touchdowns in order to win a game, he'll do it. If he can throw for 150 yards and no touchdowns and win the game, he'll do it. It's whatever he needs to do to win. That's not always going to correlate on the stat sheet, which means that he's not always going to get the same love that some of these other guys get. I love Odell Beckham. I don't know if he's an elite level receiver anymore. I think he's a good receiver. I love Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is still emerging. He's still learning the position. He's not an elite level receiver yet. He's a rookie. They got a bunch of the same type of dudes out there running around. A bunch of guys who right now are wide receiver 2s or wide receiver 3s. Doesn't matter. When all of his wide receivers drop 9 passes in a game, the headline wasn't excuses for Lamar Jackson. The headline was, are the Ravens getting their money's worth? I have never heard that narrative said about Joe Burrow when Joe Burrow started off the year terribly. I never heard that narrative about Josh Allen, even though this has not been a great year for Josh Allen. Never heard that narrative said about Justin Herbert. I've never heard that narrative said about Derek Carr. Never heard that narrative said about Daniel Jones. Even while he's been bad, nobody's ever said, is he worth the money? No one's ever equated what he was doing to the money. But with Lamar Jackson, that's different.
Good morning.
And that's crazy to me. I will never understand how we could have gotten to a place where that was okay, where we could question Lamar Jackson's worth when for the first 4 or 5 seasons of his career, he was not only the quarterback, but the leading rusher on the team. I'll never understand how nobody made the excuses for him when all of his running backs were hurt, when three of his 5 offensive linemen were out, wide receivers dropping the balls all over the place, wide receivers out. No excuses for him. He just has to be perfect. No excuses. And I like it. Now keep that same energy with all the rest of these quarterbacks. No excuses. You get the opportunity, you get it done. Hey, listen, with Justin Fields, when I said, hey, man, they ain't doing him no favors, trying to play him like he's a single wing running back, that's not an excuse. He's a quarterback. Let him play quarterback. They started letting him throw the ball. What happened? 8 touchdowns, 1 interception in 2 games. That's what happened. Then he got hurt. And Tyler Bagley came in and did half of that, not even half of that. Not even half of that. It's far worse. And they're trying to make it seem like there's been no difference. Yeah, if you're comparing to when they weren't letting Justin Fields throw the ball, but if you're comparing to those last 2 games where they let him throw the ball, that's not even close. It's not even close. Got people in Tampa Bay making excuses for Baker Mayfield. Bro, you just watched what you should have at quarterback. You just watched it. CJ Stroud as a rookie with a bunch of rookie receivers torched your entire defense. And you're over here talking about Baker Mayfield, 200 and something yards and and because he hasn't thrown a lot of picks this year, bro, mediocre is mediocre. Mediocre is mediocre. Yeah, you can get full off bad pizza, but that doesn't mean you want to keep eating it. You can get full off bad pizza or okay pizza. I won't even say bad. You can get full off okay pizza. But you don't want to keep eating okay pizza. Excuses. I'll tell you what. Every time I hear one of y'all make excuses, I'm going to call you out. And if I make an excuse, call me out. Let's explain it. That's how we grow. And that's how our players that we love will grow. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. Do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, whatever you do. Keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Till next time. Peace.